Cool, we're live. Awesome. Before we get the show on the road, can I get a comms check, please? That would really help us out so we can crack on. Incidentally, you guys, if you're watching this on the replay, you might want to skip 5 or 10 minutes or something like that. Or please feel free to enjoy the show right from the start as we wait for all of the notifications to go out around the world to get as many people in the live chat as we possibly can. Awesome. Thank you, Matt. Oh, Carl, good to see you, brother. And yeah, thanks for the support once again. And thank you, Rachel, as well. Appreciate it, darling. And Ashley, good to see you, brother. And as always, bro, good to see you, John. Nice one. So all good in the hood. So everyone can see and hear. That's the most important thing. As you can probably tell by the little logo there, we are back on with the paid version of StreamYard. Thanks to some nice donations there. Carl McPhee, again, thanks to Carl. We are watching this in 1080p HD with all of the extra features, so appreciate that. PayPal helps her. Incidentally, if you guys want to help, there's a new QR code. I don't know if it works. So that apparently goes straight into the channel. Ninja Man, good to see you, bro. And listen, Mark, your package is going to be sent tomorrow morning, mate. So keep your eyes open, probably Monday, Tuesday. Okay, bud? Nice one. So that's good. Everything's working. So, yes. Where do we begin then? This was quite weird. When I was checking on the wires earlier, it's become apparent that this thing, which is breaking news, actually. So incidentally, if you see the message on the bottom, if you can share the link to this video, especially on Facebook and WhatsApp, that's really appreciated because it just gets more people in, more people can find out what's been going on because we got some stuff to expose as well. Okay, yeah. And it's the usual things. Now, what I would like to point out right from the outset, I don't want people watching this crapping themselves scared. All right, it's not one of those things. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I just wanted to highlight the level of manipulation that's going on out there regarding spiky things to make us better, if you understand what I'm saying. I know it's weird. This is 2025. This is the UK, 1984 in full effect. So we do have to be careful. Especially people like myself and a few others who have got a fairly decent following. We do have to be careful what we say. So there's certain words that we're not going to use and they are going to be replaced with alternative words. But I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. So what we're going to do, we're going to jump straight into it. And as always, we are going to start from the source. And the source, regards this information, is from our wonderful friends who are trying to help humanity as best they can, bless them, the World Health Organization. So let's hear it from the horse's mouth, how crazy this brand new crazy strain, which is going mental across Europe, America, and the UK. And the weird thing is, this does feel like it could build to a bit of a perfect storm, because I don't know if you guys are aware, but the NHS residential doctors all over England are going to be on strike from the 17th to the 22nd. So yes, just when loads of people apparently are being admitted to high dependency care units within the NHS system across the UK. So let's get into it, boys and girls. We want to see what the horse's mouth is saying. So here we are. I just want to check quickly if you guys can see. And what I might try and do is I might try and make this bigger so you guys can see it. Okay, sweet. Hold in tight, guys. Hold tight. Now look at this. Disease outbreak news. This was yesterday. Sorry, the day before, the 10th of December. Okay. And as some of you know, I don't really know what anyone thinks out there. But this was launched 2 days ago and it's been all over the mainstream press in the UK. If you haven't noticed, myself included, it was new to me today, but you know, stuff's going down. So I'd like to draw your attention to this influenza A. Now, some of you know there's two strands, A and B. A, this one happens to be H3N2. Now, this isn't common to what we witness here, especially in the UK, H5N1, H9N1, etc. But this is a different beast altogether. Now, earlier on, I read through this entire report from the World Health Organization. And if you want to check it out yourself, just go into the World Health Organization website and look at the newsroom, and this will come up. This is fresh off the press, as it were. So, influenza A, H3N2. I counted 40 times that this variant was mentioned in their latest situational report. So, alias K subclade. That's what they are calling this particular strand, which is causing all of the problems. And we're going to get into it a bit after we whiz through this WHO report. 40 times. And as you can tell on the screen, I've highlighted every one. So there is quite on their radar, because they wouldn't mention this 40 times in one report. This is quite unheard of, people. Now, some of you people who research into this, who are familiar with the layout of the WHO's plan, agenda, news, articles, updates, etc., this is quite unheard of. This is quite uncommon. Right, so we can just go through, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to show you at glance of how many times this new strand has been mentioned in this report. If you can tell on the global map there, it's crazy. The darker the color, the more severe it is. So Canada looks insane. All across continental Russia, etc., is huge. You've got a large portion, not a small portion, looks like Brazil, on the northeast portion of South America. We got parts of Africa as well. Looks pretty crazy. So as we continue, it's been highlighted everywhere. So this really is a thing, okay? Americas, East Asia, this is everywhere, okay? European, African region, it just goes on. Now, when you go through it all, it's quite eye-opening. Now, look at some of the verbiage, as my friend over in America says, the Leak Project. Shout out to Rex Bear. Issuing seasonal influenza vaccine. You know what I'm saying. Providing technical guidance to member states on vaccine selection and campaign timing, control strategies, monitoring vaccine effectiveness, disease surveillance, outbreak response activities, promoting increased vaccine coverage, enhancing risk communication. All of this stuff is being pressed by you know who. Totally. And again, the verbiage is insane. Surveillance, year-round global surveillance, member states to maintain surveillance, guidance on integrated respiratory virus surveillance. It sounds crazy. High-risk groups, adults over 65, individuals over 85, extreme high-risk groups. It's pretty much common sense. Most of us probably know already. But look at this. Patient placement isolation, the use of medical mask by all health and care workers and visitors when caring for patients with suspected or confirmed influenza. Personal protective equipment, PPE. Example, eye protection, filtering face piece respirators, gown, gloves should be performed by health and care workers when caring for patients with influenza. Patient placement in airborne infection isolation room. You don't want to end up in one of those airborne infection isolation rooms. Pretty sinister stuff. Vaccination is the best way to prevent influenza disease. Apparently, is it really? Okay, we're going to get onto that in a sec. It's quite interesting what we're going to be exposing here. It really is. Recommends seasonal influenza vaccine. WHO recommends annual vaccination for high-risk groups, including health and care workers. So everyone involved, yep, jibbity jab, 100%. So that is the latest from you know who to who. And I'm just going to pop myself back on the screen there. Pretty insane, pretty insane. But that's not all. So we're going to bring it back to here in the UK, because this is the UK prepping channel, of course. Now, look at some of the information coming out on the wires. Oh, snap. Okay, here we go. Cool. Nice one. It's remembered all of my highlights. I'm just going to double check to see if you guys are getting it. And indeed, blow it up as so. We read on. Record flu cases. Mutations thought to be spreading flu faster and earlier, with vaccines less effective than hoped. Lots of fear-born being pushed, but people, please don't worry about it. Don't frighten yourself silly. This isn't what this video is about, and we're going to get to that in a bit. The NHS is bracing for one of its worst winters on record, as a surge in flu cases puts pressure on GP surgeries, hospitals, and ambulance services. The flu season is well underway in continental Europe too, where the same flu strain active in the UK is emerging as a force behind a new wave of infections. Oh, damn it. I couldn't see the rest. Oh, here we go. Thank God. Right. Okay. As highlighted, at the start of November, the figure in England was already at 11% compared to 3% the same time last year. That's quite a jump. The season is thought to have started 4 to 5 weeks earlier than usual. And that is unusual, to be fair. In the UK, a form, here we go, H3N2, just what we read on the World Health Organization's breaking news update, is domineering the season so far. The virus is a descendant acquired 7 new mutations, producing what scientists call a drifted strain of H3N2, named, here we go, subclade K. Now, if any of you esoteric fans out there, can you break down that term, subclade, and see what we come up with? Chuck it in the comment section if you're watching this on a replay, or indeed if you're watching live and you're free to dig around that words, that could bring up all sorts of things. The mutations are thought to help spread it faster. Now listen to this. This is quite weird. All right, this is what's been going on in Europe. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but we get a lot of people visiting from Europe to the UK, and this time of the year, coughs and sneezes spread diseases. France's National Public Health Agency, the French guy, said this week that flu activity was increasing strongly, in metropolitan France, with cases rising in all age groups. All metropolitan regions are now in the epidemic phase of influenza. I'm going to repeat that. All metropolitan regions in France are now in the epidemic phase for influenza. The number of people with flu seeking treatment at hospital emergency departments and the number of admissions have increased in the past week. Elsewhere in Europe, in Spain, cases are surging, with infection rates already higher than last year's winter peak and hospitalizations doubling in 1 week. Romania and Hungary are also experiencing a surge in cases. In Ireland, nearly 3,000 cases were reported in the first week of December. That's up 49% on the week before, with hospital admissions up 58%. This is just this new strain of flu, nothing else. Data published by the French guy this week show that among patients being treated for the flu in intensive care units, yes, ICU, very serious, 58% were aged 65 and older. So what we're looking at is guys and girls who are a little bit older are totally in the risk group. Not to mention kids. It's always the same, and it probably always will be. So we're going to roll on to the next article, and you're going to see where I'm going with this. You will totally see it. Right. What we know about flu variant A, H3N2, K, that's what they are seeming to call it in some places. This strain behind 90% of the cases that have been administered. Now, even these pictures, the graphics, it's all familiar. See, look at that, 2020, brings back memories. Why are they pushing this now? Okay, let's read on. Flu cases are up 50 million symptomatic cases, and anywhere from 15,000 to 70,000 deaths per year just in Europe. 70,000 people died in Europe of flu. Yep. Up to 20% of the population contacts flu each year. That's nearly a quarter of the whole population in Europe get flu. Now, I wonder why this is being pushed. And we're just going to expose a little bit of this as we go through the live stream. Okay. Quite interesting reading. I'm not going to bore you with all of it because it just goes on and it's pretty much the same sort of thing. You're going to see things like this about how to protect yourself. Okay. And there's a juicy photograph of just that. Okay. And like I say, I'm not going to bore you with it. It's just going to run on and on and on. So let me see. The next slide, please. Okay. Just want to double check, whack it on full screen. Makes it a bit easier for you guys to see. And we read on again. This is UC Health Today. Now, I'm aware that there are some American citizens watching this live stream right now. And let me tell you this, my heart really goes out to the American people by the level of bullshit that they are being exposed to from the mainstream press. Now, what I've done, I started reading this article and I highlighted just how fear porn the American press is. And I just had to give up because it's pretty much the whole story is just fear. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. And all it basically is saying to me is read this, get scared, rush out and get a flu shot. That's basically it in a nutshell, making the flu shot manufacturers an absolute shit ton of money. So this is just me exposing just how bad it is in America. You think it's bad in the UK? Well, let's have a little ride through this article, and it's quite frightening actually. So everything highlighted in yellow is going to be read by moi. The ominous new K-flu variant is spreading as the flu shot rate fall. Yes. And look at the poor little picture. They really want to pull on the heartstrings. And you're going to see this a lot. Health experts. Who's the health expert? Who are the health experts? How are they qualified? Who trained them? What university did they graduate from? Who funded the university to push their research? It all goes back to money. Follow the money, and we will read on. Flu cases are rising now, but it's not too late to get your shot to protect loved ones before the holidays. They're really laying it on thick right from the outset. This is the level of how crazy this stuff is. No, I'm not joking. I just had to give up because it just goes on for ages. But we're going to expose it. And you guys with eyes to see can absolutely see this sort of stuff and what's behind it and why they're doing it, especially with the verbiage that they're using. And as always, they are always going to bring on an expert doctor just to back up the bullshit. Okay. Fewer people are getting their annual flu shots this year. I wonder why that is. 2020. Do you remember? Well, let me remind you, in 2020, there wasn't one single reported case of anyone over the whole planet with flu. Not one. Yes, that's never happened in human history. Good. We're on the same page. Right. Let's check that again. Fewer people are getting their annual flu shots this year, as flu infections are rising and the ominous new K flu variant is spreading. I'm not kidding, boys and girls. This K flu variant is all over all mainstream media in the West. I'm pretty sure there's not much mention of it in the Far East. Who knows? But check this out. I feel sorry for you guys in Colorado, in Denver. In Colorado, only about 25% of people have gotten their flu shot so far this fall. That's autumn in UK. Only 25% of people have got it. Again, I wonder why. That's down from about 27% of people who had gotten their flu shots by this time last year. And it's a significant drop with 32% of Coloradans, that's a weird one, Coloradans, who got flu shots during the entire winter respiratory virus season. So basically, that's RVS in 2024 and 2025. Listen to this. Now, this is where they are trying to stop the sheeple from waking up to the truth. Read this. While misinformation about vaccines has driven down the number of people who are getting all types of vaccines. So yeah, apparently, according to misinformation, that is one of the main reasons why many people have stopped taking most vaccines. So it does appear that some of the people are indeed slowly starting to realize that they are being lied to and they are being harmed, and at the expense of their health, making some companies a shit ton of money, including those that protect people from the flu. The drop in the percentage of Coloradans who are getting annual flu shots comes at a particularly dangerous time. I'm not joking, people. The Americans are absolutely being hammered by words in the mainstream. Oh my God, it's just insane. That's because a new flu variant has been surging around the world and has caused bad early flu outbreaks in Japan, the UK, and Canada. This variant, known as type A H3N2 subclade K, is now spreading in Colorado and across the US, prompting warnings from infectious disease experts. Oh my God, look at the words, infectious disease experts. Really want to make it scary, don't they? That we could face a tough flu season. In the US, 20 to 30,000 people still die every single year from the flu, said Dr. Michelle Baron, UC Health's Senior Medical Director for Infection Disease and Prevention. Wow, that's quite a title there. I bet she's proud of herself. The K variant, which could soon become dominant in the US, appears to be especially good at evading vaccines and bypassing our body's immune system. You see what I mean? They're really trying to scare people with this stuff. This year's flu shot isn't perfect, but you should still get it. Yeah, it's not perfect, but you should still get it. Even though this year's flu shot is a mismatch for the K variant, that doesn't mean you should skip getting flu vax for yourself and your family members. notice that they keep dropping in, and your family members. They really want to make people feel guilty for not taking part in this hideous money-making scam, which is basically going on. Getting a flu shot still protects people from getting severely ill or dying if they get the flu. Okay. If you haven't gotten your flu shot or made an appointment to get your kids vaccinated, do it now. So yeah, they're saying family members, and now they're saying kids. They're really pulling out all the stops to get people to sign up to this BS. It's never too late. It's never too late. Wow. Now that we're seeing an uptick in flu cases, it's a great time to get your vaccine, because the numbers will continue to rise. You're going to need that extra level of protection as more people get sick and as more people will be traveling or having visitors. The worst part of the holiday season is if you're sick and stuck in bed. You want to be able to go out and enjoy the holidays. Honestly, at that point, I just stopped. I mean, the level of fear porn, which our American brothers and sisters are getting, it's insane. It's insane. It's just unbelievable. So what we're going to do is we are going to show some proof of how the time frame of this has affected, should we say, certain manufacturers. Now, I just picked one at random and I've done a search, and then guess what? Surprise, surprise. Let's expose some truth right now. Just going to make it a big screen. Okie dokie. Right. Flu vaccine manufacturers. Right. Nice, basic, simple, generic search on the Google. And it pulled up straight away the usual suspects. But this one here is quite intriguing. CSL. I've highlighted it in yellow. Okay. So we go through here and it says here, CSL, a major player known for cell-based and adjuvated vaccines, utilizing both egg and cell technology. All right. So remember this, CSL Seqirus. CSL Seqirus. All right. So let's see what's been going on with that company in recent times. Okay. So bear in mind, who remembers the world before 2020? It sounds crazy, but I'm sure you'll agree lots have changed since then, hasn't it? But check this out and look at the graph. Okay. I'm going to make it on a big screen, so some of you guys on the phone will probably see it. You might need to turn your phone sideways and make it a big screen. But check this out. Look at the time frame. This is CSL. Okay, so this is the company we were just talking about, who's a major player in the vaccines. All right. 2005, 2010, 2015, a little bit, going up slowly. 2020, boom, all the way to the top. So ever since, you know what happened in 2020, their share prices have gone mental, absolutely mental. You can tell by going along here, the close, $4 a share. 2020, 275, or sorry, 312. That is an absolute huge uptick in gain capital by CSL. Totally off the charts. And I know some of you guys have already looked into things like this. And yes, there are indeed other companies, GlaxoSmithKline, etc. So to me, what I'm seeing is a major fear button porn press button by the World Health Organization. All of the major news wires, mainstream, jump on it all at the same time. And at the same time, all of this is being pushed. The vaccine companies are making an absolute squillion over it. So here's just some more examples of what the UK is being pushed with all of this BS. Now, I want to play this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the screen big, and I want you guys to listen. You may have to turn your phone up a bit. I don't know. But if it is too loud, apologies. This is quite alarming and comical at the same time. So we're going to put it back here, and we're going to roll video.
Being called the Flunami, a wave of flu cases driven by a mutated virus. Here's what you need to know. Latest NHS statistics show an average of just under 2,700 beds a day were occupied by patients in England with flu last week, enough to fill 3 big hospitals. It's a 55% rise from the week before, and the NHS says it's facing a worst-case scenario for the time of year. Most of the cases at the moment are caused by the H3N2 strain of flu. It tends to cause more severe symptoms, particularly in the elderly. There's a version of the strain in this year's vaccine, inactivated so it doesn't cause disease. There are 2 other flu strains in there too. But the decision on exactly which versions of the flu strains go into the jab is taken in the spring to give manufacturers enough time to make millions of doses in time for the Northern Hemisphere winter. The H3N2 virus evolved significantly in the summer to become subclade K. The 7 new mutations help it evade the immunity in the population that's built up from previous infections or vaccinations, so it's spreading rapidly. In a typical year, every 100 people with flu would pass the virus on to 120 others. This year, it's estimated to be 140. The mutations also mean the vaccine isn't as well matched against the virus. But the UK Health Security Agency says it's still 30 to 40% effective at preventing hospital admissions in adults. As for masks, the NHS's most senior emergency doctor says that's up to you.
This guy.
I think at the moment what we're saying to everyone is to be sensible and pragmatic. So if you are symptomatic or if you are vulnerable, you may well want to wear a face mask, especially when you're out and about, and that would be a sensible thing to do.
The last epidemic in the UK was 36 years ago, when more than 1 million people were infected by Christmas. Then there were around 26,000 excess deaths. But even though current infection rates are still only classified as moderate, cases are rising steeply, just as resident doctors prepare to strike next week. The Prime Minister urged the Doctors' Union to accept a new offer.
That offer can only go forward if they don't take strike action, particularly in the run-up to Christmas, particularly when we've got a problem with flu. It would be irresponsible of BMA to push through.
This outbreak and the likely impact on the NHS could have some way to go.
Crazy. And apologies for showing you guys some video of our Prime Minister. I really am sorry about that. Just makes me feel sick, actually. Anything that comes out of that guy, not good. Absolutely not good. But that guy who was talking about wearing masks and stuff, he looked super sinister, didn't he? My God, I wouldn't trust him with anyone. He just seems a nasty piece of work. So this, I've got to do this to you guys, and the reason I'm going to show this to you is because, believe it or not, this newspaper is seen by the most amount of people. In other words, it's Britain's most popular newspaper. So I was interested to see what the majority of the UK population are reading about from this publication, and we're going to show it now. So yeah, apologies for this. I know it's not very intellectual, I'm sure, but here we go. Okay. It's crazy. The viral spread, 10 symptoms of the K-strand superflu spreading now in big letters as doctor warns of a 12-hour sign your baby needs immediate help. So this is just some public information about kids with this. Now I'm going to show you this doctor. She's really freaky, really weird, and I don't know, part of me thinks she's probably just an actor, but I don't really know. She just comes across as very strange. So I want to let you guys watch this and tell me what you think after just a short clip of this video.
Some of which cost you nothing at all, which are really important in the treatment of a cough and a cold. And remember, most coughs and colds are viral. You do not need antibiotics. The first thing is something that actually in today's modern society we're not the best at giving ourselves, but the first thing is rest. Your body needs rest in order to heal and recover. Then it's really important that you drink plenty of fluids. Doctors are always talking about keeping your fluid intake up. We want to...
It's just insane. It really is. So if I go down and I can show you, I've highlighted, here we go, illnesses. Unlike a cold, which tends to come on gradually, flu symptoms come on very suddenly. And they can, not all, but they can include a sudden high temperature, body aches, feeling knackered, a dry cough, a sore throat, a headache, difficulty sleeping, loss of appetite, the squits and tummy pain, feeling sick, and actually being sick. We roll down even further. So this is red flags, okay? For parents who have got young ones, the 12-hour warning sign. Now, this is quite interesting. It is far more short of breath than usual. If your child has pain when breathing in or coughing, is feeling confused, dizzy, or lightheaded, feels sick or being sick, for example, they can't even keep down foods or fluids for very long. Their child is coughing up blood. Well, that's a bloody indicator straight away, straight to the ambulance if coughing up blood. Has had a dry nappy for 12 hours or more, or is showing other signs of dehydration, or your child has a very high or very low temperature. They feel either hot or cold to touch, or they're shivering. So that is some basic advice which is being pushed out there by that horrendous publication, the Sun newspaper. Yes, apparently the majority of the UK population buys this crap and just sucks it all up. It's insane. That, honestly, that woman, just ridiculous. In fact, if you watch the entirety, if you can bear it, of that video, it is basically looks like it's aimed at kids, not free thinking adults. It's just insane. So this is quite an interesting one. So we're going to show you this one too. We're going to double check. We want to blow it up full screen. Okay. The Daily Mail don't really mince their words, so let's get straight into it. Children bearing brunt of superflu crisis, as Wes Streeting warns raging outbreaks could triple in size and fears grow at looming doctors' strike could collapse overwhelmed NHS. Wow. Collapse the NHS. Very, very strong words. This is the Health Secretary, by the way, has warned the double whammy of flu and looming doctor's strike could collapse the entire NHS. That's the Health Secretary saying that in quote. Unbelievable. Look at this. Last week, an average of 2,660 hospital beds each day were occupied by flu patients. That's up more than 42% of the same week last year. 2,660 beds every single day across the UK were taken up by people because they got flu. Wow, that's a lot of beds with people with the flu. Totally unbelievable. So the UK HSA, in fact, some of the stats that we showed earlier, talking about how fast this transmutes or transmates, right? So it's 100, then 120. Now this is 140. So this is spreading fast, okay? So they're saying children aged between 5 and 14 years old are the most susceptible to the current strain of the virus. The figures show that children and younger teens are most likely to test positive for H3N2, also known as subclade K. Yes, so it's one group of mainstream targeting the elderly and one group is targeting the youngsters. Okay. And you can see just how crazy fast this is spreading. Apparently, it really, really is. And there's another paid actress right there. Flu Army rather than Tsunami. It's just bonkers. The amount of filth that they're putting out in the mainstream to absolutely frighten the good Jesus out of people, showing pictures of wombles wearing masks which aren't going to do anything at all. These won't protect you at all. It absolutely won't. In fact, in the olden days, what would happen is people would only wear a mask if they've got it themselves. Don't think you're going to be safe walking around with a mask, thinking you're going to be protected with someone who has got it, who is not wearing a mask. Everything is opposite. It's pretty much why everything's screwed up these days. And the comment section, unbelievable. Total, absolute lunacy. Total lunacy, which was going on here in the UK. So basically, that's the stuff that's being put out there. And as we saw earlier, it's all done to make drug companies a lot of money. That's basically it in a nutshell. Okay. So, yeah, wearing a mask ain't going to do anything at all. If you've got the flu, the best thing to do is to stay indoors and recover. Don't forget, when you're asleep, when you're resting, your immune system is taking over and fighting what's going on there. Your body should be hot because the hotter that your body can get, the more of these bugs it's going to kill off naturally. You don't need to get some spike with God knows what injected into you. It'll probably make you worse. But like we saw earlier in America, wow, those poor Americans are absolutely being drowned in a high level fear porn exercise into getting people so scared that they will probably run to their GP, their doctors, and get the shot. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. So my advice, if you do have the flu, is to basically just go to bed. Go to bed, make yourself comfortable, okay? Usually when you get the flu, because I've had it a few times now from my experience anyway, you're really hot, you're really sweaty, but you're shivering, you feel like you're cold. So you want to put more duvet over you. You want to get warmer because you just feel cold. That's your body telling you to raise your body temperature to fight the virus inside. That's natural, that's normal, that's what the body is supposed to do. You start mucking around and going out of your house, going to GP surgeries, going to hospital, getting all of that crap done and all the rest of it, it's not going to do you any good. Basically, stay at home, ride it out, make sure that you drink loads. Now, my advice would be, from a preparedness point of view, please make sure in your medical supplies that you've got a really good stock of rehydration therapies. Okay, a good one, in actual fact, if I remember rightly, on my Amazon page, if you go to medical, there is rehydration powders in this pack, liquid IV. Those, I swear blind, I've used those quite a few times since a friend of mine in America sent me some, and they work so well. I got a stock of them, and I'll tell you one thing, they are brilliant. Okay, if you are really dehydrated, and you know you are because your wee's going to be dark, okay, you drink a pint of that, just 1 pint a day, first thing in the morning, neck the whole thing. I'll guarantee you it works wonders at rehydrating you. That's one of the biggest issues people have when they have influenza, is dehydration. Okay, you have to make sure that you at least drink a pint of this stuff at least once a day to make sure that you replace all of the essential salts, vitamins, and minerals that your body is sweating out. It's sweating out because it's raising your body temperature to kill the bugs. This is all common sense. Not everyone knows it. So like you can see on the bottom of the screen, please share the link to this video. Make sure your family and friends watch it so they can gin themselves up, and to avoid making a mistake by going to somewhere to get that spike thing put in. That's my advice. Take it or leave it. You do what you want to do. At the end of the day, make an informed decision. But from what I've been seeing, what I've been analysing and checking, reading between the lines, it does seem a bit of a setup. It's very, very strange that the World Health Organization issued that report, and on the very same day, all of the global press were all over it, pushing flu shots. Problem, reaction, solution. So that's it from me. Please like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to be in the live stream like all of the good folks are right now. And share the video. It really, really helps. And if you want to, check the links below, because there's lots of discounts for all of your prepping needs. Thanks to the moderators. Love and support to the members. You guys take care. Thanks for watching. Stay funky.